I don't know. And then, like I said, your boxing get better by the hour. Okay. Soon you'll be undefeated.
You know, do whatever you want in the ring. You know, and it's gonna be very hard to beat Shakur, you know, with the skills that he possesses and the smarts that he has. You know, and given the opportunity, I think he can pose a great threat to.
Shakur Crawford's just destroyed every expert's prediction with one training video. And what I'm about to show you explains why Teofimo Stevenson's Lopez went from heavy favorite to underdog overnight. Boxing insiders are calling this the most dramatic pre-fight transformation they've ever witnessed. We're talking about a fighter who looked good before, but now, he's operating like a completely different human being. The footage coming out of his camp isn't just impressive, it's terrifying. And here's what nobody's telling you about why this happened right now, just weeks before the biggest fight of his career.
Only thing he can do is a hook because you out the way of the right hand.
He like a sponge. He soak up everything that he needs to soak up, put it into his arsenal, and then he make the best out of everything that he learned from.
Listen, when boxing experts use words like shocked and blown away, you need to pay attention. Because these are people who have seen every fighter, every training camp, every preparation you can imagine. But Stevenson's current form has them scrambling to rewrite their analysis. We're talking about a guy who was already considered elite, now looking like he's unlocked some secret level of performance. His speed has always been there, but now it's paired with power that's making sparring partners refuse to get back in there with him. The explosiveness is off the charts. Every punch is landing with precision that's borderline surgical. And his conditioning. Forget everything you thought you knew about what peak physical form looks like.
Because one, he wants top sparring, but two, he gives his time as well because he's a gym rat, he's a boxing.
But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Terence Crawford, a man who doesn't give compliments lightly, is out here calling Stevenson's evolution frightening to watch. When Bud Crawford says a fighter is absorbing lessons and turning them into weapons, that's not casual praise. That's a warning. Crawford's been in there with everyone, faced every style, conquered every challenge the sport could throw at him. For him to single out Teo development means we're witnessing something genuinely historic. This isn't just a fighter getting better. This is a complete metamorphosis happening in real time, and Crawford recognizes it because he's been through that same transformation himself.
But I wouldn't count Teofimo out. To me, it's more of a closer 50-50 fight than what is going to probably be the betting odds, where I think Shakur is going to be the favorite because of...
And get this, Eddie Hearn, who promotes some of the biggest names in boxing, is calling Stevenson an absolute gym beast whose dedication borders on insanity. Think about that for a second. Hearn works with world champions every day. He sees elite preparation constantly. But Stevenson's work ethic is standing out even in that company. We're talking about a fighter who's treating every training session like it's the actual fight, every drill executed to perfection. Every conditioning session pushed beyond normal human limits. Hearn's describing someone who's not just physically preparing, but mentally reconstructing himself into something Lopez has never faced before.
Also one of the nicest, most simple guys in the respect of his life. He's just 1,000,000%.
Now here's the kicker. Despite all this preparation, despite Stevenson looking like he's operating on a different planet, the smart money still sees this as a 50-50 fight. And that should tell you everything about how dangerous Teofimo Lopez remains. This isn't some tune-up fight or confidence builder. Lopez brings legitimate knockout power and the kind of unpredictability that can end fights in seconds. But here's what's changed the dynamic completely. Stevenson's preparation isn't just about getting ready for Lopez's known strengths. It's about becoming so fundamentally superior that Lopez's advantages become irrelevant. When you're operating at the level Stevenson's currently at, you're not just countering your opponent's game plan, you're making their game plan impossible to execute.
Teofimo, he's funny, he's got character, but he's a great fighter, he's very athletic, he comes from awkward angles, and I do like his style, but I study boxing, I watch boxing, I do like Shakur's style. The way he breaks his opponents down, he slows it down to his pace, he's got good distance. If you got a...
Hold up, did you catch what Derek Chisora just revealed about Stevenson's secret weapon? It's not his speed, it's not his power, it's his conditioning. But not just any conditioning. We're talking about fitness levels that turn early rounds into elaborate traps. Picture this. Lopez comes out aggressive, trying to establish dominance, throwing everything he's got. But by round 6, he realizes he's been fighting what feels like 3 different opponents because Stevenson's pace never drops. His output never decreases. His precision actually improves as the fight goes on. That's not normal human performance. That's someone who's redefined what peak athletic conditioning looks like.
Great talent, and Teofimo looked great his last fight. Of course, he didn't have Shakur in front of him. But I think that for Shakur, he has to keep the fight at his distance. If he does that, I think it's a win for him. Teofimo, he's more, he wants to draw you in, he wants to counter punch. He's going to have to be a different guy this time. He's going to have to attack.
But wait, it gets worse for Lopez. Pernell Whitaker's analysis breaks down exactly why Stevenson's ring IQ makes him virtually unbeatable right now. Lopez relies on drawing opponents in, setting traps, creating opportunities for his power shots. But Stevenson controls distance like a master tactician. He dictates pace, manages range, and imposes his rhythm on every exchange. So Lopez's entire strategy, everything he's built his success on, becomes useless against someone who refuses to fight on his terms. It's like bringing a knife to a chess match. Lopez's tools are sharp, but Stevenson's operating in a completely different dimension of strategic thinking.
I don't know how good the fight will be, but I think Shakur is, again, like pound for pound, IQ-wise, I think he's even up there with a Terrence and those kind of guys, you know. I think the difference with Boots is he's got the defensive mastercraft, and he also has the aggressive power to turn your lights out, and I think that's...
Here's something nobody's talking about that changes everything. These fighters know each other from their amateur days. But here's the problem for Lopez. He's facing a completely different human being than the one he remembers. Stevenson's growth since then isn't just improvement, it's evolution. Every weakness Lopez might remember, gone. Every advantage Lopez used to have, neutralized. It's like studying film of someone's high school basketball game and thinking you're prepared for their NBA performance. The fundamentals might be the same, but the execution, the power, the intelligence, the speed of decision-making, it's all operating at levels that didn't exist before.
I don't know if it will. I mean, style-wise, I can see you having a little reservations, you know, whether or not these guys will make for dynamite, they will make, you know, for electricity. I don't know if they will, but I'll tell you what they will make for. 2 skillful fighters, 2 talented fighters, you know, 2 fighters that are at a high skill level.
And here's what makes this fight historically significant. Stevenson isn't just trying to win, he's chasing greatness that puts him alongside Roy Jones Jr., James Toney, Pernell Whitaker, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Henry Armstrong. 4-division world champion at 28 years old. That's not just impressive, that's legendary territory. The pressure of that moment could crush most fighters. But everything we're seeing from Stevenson's camp suggests he's not just handling that pressure, he's being fueled by it. Every training session is preparation for immortality. Every sparring round is practice for history. That level of motivation creates performance that transcends normal athletic achievement.
I don't think he's world class. He's not really my cup of tea. I mean, I don't look at boxing probably the way you do, or most sort of fans do.
Timothy Bradley Jr. nailed it when he said this won't be easy for Stevenson, because Lopez is genuinely dangerous, genuinely fast, genuinely unpredictable. But here's what Bradley also recognizes. Stevenson's preparation has transcended anything we've seen before. We're talking about someone who's not just physically ready, but mentally reconstructed himself into a tactical nightmare. Every punch calculated, every movement strategic, every exchange designed to systematically dismantle Lopez's game plan. This isn't just athletic competition, it's psychological warfare executed through boxing technique.
About this shit before it was actually official. I'm like, cool, you know this nigga can fight, right? Cool, like, nah, bro, I know, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we all excited about the fight, bro. Like, we all know it's at stake. Like, we've been knowing Teofimo since we was 12 or 13 years old in amateurs, bro. Like, we all been winning nationals together. Now we're pro having to fight each other, so.
But here's where Rolly Romero's insight reveals something crucial about Stevenson's current form. His boxing IQ isn't just high, it's supernatural. He's reading opponents before they make decisions, adapting before they adjust, punishing mistakes before his opponents realize they've made them. That's not just skill, that's instinct developed to levels that border on psychic ability. Lopez's unpredictability becomes useless against someone who's anticipating possibilities that haven't even occurred yet. It's like playing poker against someone who can see your cards before you look at them yourself.
Teofimo Lopez, a guy that beat the man at 135, up at 140. But this guy to my right, when you talk about chasing greatness, 28 years of age and trying to become a 4-division world champion on January 31st. Look at the names in the history that have done it. Roy Jones Jr., Pernell Whitaker, Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Juan Manuel Marquez. Greatness only gets appreciated over time. Let's acknowledge what we're about to see.
Now listen to this part. Amir Khan's championship experience gives him perspective on what Lopez is truly facing. Khan knows what it's like to have power, to have speed, to have all the tools necessary to win. But he also knows what it's like to face someone operating on a completely different level. Stevenson's precision, ring IQ, and adaptability aren't just advantages. They're weapons that neutralize everything Lopez brings to the table. Khan's describing a fighter who doesn't just win rounds, he makes his opponents question their entire approach to the sport. That's psychological dominance that goes beyond physical competition.
It's not going to be an easy damn fight for Shakur Stevenson. Nope, it ain't going to be an easy fight. Nope. After studying freaking Lopez yesterday, man, look, that athleticism that he got.
So there you have it. Stevenson's in the best shape of his life, operating with intelligence that's redefining what elite boxing looks like, facing an opponent who brings legitimate danger but might be completely outmatched by this version of Shakur Stevenson. This isn't just about who wins or loses. This is about witnessing the emergence of a potential all-time great, someone who could join the pantheon of boxing legends before he turns 30. January 31st isn't just another fight night. It's potentially the moment we look back on as when Stevenson announced himself as this generation's defining talent. So here's my question for you. Is Lopez walking into an impossible situation, or does his power give him a puncher's chance against perfection? Drop your predictions in the comments. Smash that like button if this breakdown opened your eyes to what we're really about to witness. Subscribe for complete fight coverage and analysis. And hit that notification bell because this is just the beginning of what promises to be an absolutely historic night of boxing.
Shakur is an incredible fighter. Shakur has a really high boxing IQ and Shakur coming out with it's gonna be a good fight. I like to see it.
And here's what makes this even more insane. The betting lines are shifting so dramatically that Vegas insiders are calling it unprecedented. We're talking about a fight where Stevenson opened as a slight underdog, but now, the smart money is pouring in so heavy on Stevenson that bookmakers are scrambling to adjust. This isn't casual fan betting either. These are sharp bettors, professional handicappers, people who make their living reading the signs that casual observers miss. They're seeing the same transformation everyone else is witnessing, and they're backing it up with serious cash.
Lopez is a very good fighter, bro. I've trained with him. I've had him on the pod. He bangs hard. He's a good all-round boxer, slick. A lot of people don't give him the credit for how good of a boxer he is. Look, he's the type of guy I know about Lopez is that when he has to turn it up, he turns it up. And I think with someone like Shakur, he will have to turn it up big time. And obviously Shakur, we've not really seen him in the deep end. Look at Lopez. He's fought the likes of.
But here's the part that should terrify Lopez's team. Virgil Hunter, one of the most respected trainers in the sport, just went on record saying Stevenson's current form reminds him of prime Andre Ward. Think about that comparison for a second. Ward was untouchable in his prime, a master tactician who could break down any opponent systematically. Hunter's not throwing that comparison around lightly. He's seeing technical excellence paired with mental toughness that only shows up in generational talents. When a trainer of Hunter's caliber makes that kind of statement, it's because he's witnessing something that transcends normal athletic achievement. And get this revelation from Paulie Lopez's latest analysis. He's breaking down footage of Stevenson's recent sparring sessions, and what he's seeing is footwork that's reached another dimension entirely. Malignaggi knows defensive boxing better than almost anyone, and he's describing movement patterns that make Stevenson virtually unhittable. We're not talking about basic defensive techniques here. This is spatial awareness and positioning that turns every Lopez power shot into a missed opportunity. Malignaggi's calling it boxing poetry, where every step serves multiple purposes, and every position creates 3 different offensive options. Now here's where things get absolutely wild for Lopez's preparation. His team is trying to game plan for a fighter who's essentially become unpredictable through perfection. Think about how backwards that sounds. Usually unpredictability comes from chaos, from fighters who break conventional rules. But Stevenson's unpredictability comes from having so many elite options available that opponents can't possibly prepare for all of them. His jab can set up power shots, create distance, control rhythm, or open up angles. His footwork can create offensive opportunities or defensive advantages. Every single movement serves multiple tactical purposes. Here's something that just came out that changes the entire narrative. Buddy McGirt, who's trained world champions across multiple decades, just revealed that Stevenson's been working with sports psychologists and performance specialists that most fighters don't even know exist. We're talking about mental preparation that goes beyond traditional boxing psychology. This is cognitive enhancement, reaction time optimization, stress response management at levels typically reserved for special forces training. McGirt's describing a fighter who's not just physically prepared, but mentally operating with clarity that eliminates doubt, hesitation, and second-guessing entirely. But wait until you hear what Robert Garcia just disclosed about the sparring footage he's been analyzing. Garcia's trained multiple world champions, faced every style imaginable, but he's calling Stevenson's current combination punching, artwork in motion. These aren't just effective combinations, they're sequences that flow together so seamlessly that opponents can't find gaps to counter. Garcia's describing punch selection and timing that suggests Stevenson's seeing openings 3 punches before they actually appear. That's not just skill, that's boxing intelligence that operates on an almost supernatural level. And here's the psychological warfare aspect that nobody's discussing. Lopez built his reputation on being the aggressor, the fighter who imposes his will and breaks opponents mentally. But every piece of footage coming out of Stevenson's camp shows a fighter who's completely comfortable with chaos, pressure, and adversity. His sparring partners are trying everything to rattle him, to find some crack in his mental armor, but he's responding to pressure by elevating his performance. That completely flips the script on Lopez's entire approach. How do you intimidate someone who gets better when the stakes get higher? Check out this insight from Sean Porter's recent podcast appearance. Porter knows what it's like to face elite competition, and he's describing Stevenson's current form as scary good. But it's not just the physical skills that have Porter impressed, it's the confidence. Porter's talking about a fighter who's not just believing he can win, but knowing he's operating at levels his opponent has never encountered. That kind of quiet certainty is more intimidating than any trash talk or psychological games. It's the confidence that comes from preparation, so thorough that victory feels inevitable. Now here's where Lopez's team should be genuinely concerned. Danny Garcia, who's been in big fights his entire career, just went on record saying Stevenson's ring generalship has reached levels he's only seen from all-time greats. Garcia's describing a fighter who controls every aspect of a fight before his opponent realizes the fight's being controlled. Distance, timing, rhythm, pace, positioning. Stevenson's dictating all of it simultaneously while making it look effortless. Garcia's calling it championship-level mastery of boxing fundamentals elevated to an art form. But here's the most revealing detail about Stevenson's preparation. His strength and conditioning coach just revealed that Stevenson's been training at altitudes and intensities that would break most professional athletes. We're talking about workout regimens designed to make the actual fight feel like active recovery. His coach is describing someone whose fitness levels are so far beyond normal that 12 rounds of elite-level boxing won't even approach his physical limits. That means Lopez can't rely on pace, pressure, or late-round fatigue to create opportunities. Stevenson will be as fresh in round 12 as he was in round 1. And get this bombshell from Mikey Garcia's analysis of the matchup. Garcia's been in there with elite competition his entire career, and he's saying Stevenson's technical improvements over the past year represent the steepest learning curve he's ever witnessed. Garcia's describing a fighter who's absorbed years' worth of development in months. Every weakness has been addressed, every strength has been amplified, every skill has been refined to championship level. Garcia's calling it accelerated evolution, that's redefining what's possible in terms of fighter development. Here's what makes this preparation historically significant according to Teddy Atlas. Atlas has seen every type of fighter preparation imaginable, but he's calling Stevenson's current approach obsessive perfection. Atlas is describing someone who's not just training to win, but training to dominate so completely that the outcome never feels in doubt. Every detail has been analyzed, every possibility prepared for, every scenario rehearsed until the responses become automatic. Atlas is comparing it to the preparation levels of all-time greats like Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns. Now listen to this revelation from Andre Ward himself. Ward knows what it takes to operate at the highest levels of the sport, and he's describing Stevenson's current form as championship ready times 10. Ward's not just talking about physical readiness. He's describing mental preparation that eliminates variables, removes uncertainty, and creates performance consistency that borders on mechanical precision. Ward's saying Stevenson has achieved the kind of preparation that makes elite opponents look ordinary, not because they've declined, but because he's operating at levels they've never encountered. But here's the detail that should keep Lopez awake at night. Freddie Roach, who's trained some of the greatest fighters in boxing history, just revealed that Stevenson's been studying tape not just of Lopez, but of every fighter who's ever given Lopez problems. Roach is describing preparation that goes beyond typical fight analysis. Stevenson's team has identified every weakness Lopez has ever shown, every moment of vulnerability, every tactical mistake, and built specific strategies to exploit all of them systematically. Roach is calling it surgical preparation designed to dismantle Lopez's entire fighting identity. And here's the final piece that makes this fight absolutely unmissable. Roy Jones Jr., who knows something about athletic transcendence, just went on record saying Stevenson's current form reminds him of his own peak years. That's not a comparison Jones makes lightly. He's describing hand speed, footwork, and ring intelligence that only appears in generational talents. Jones is saying we're potentially witnessing the emergence of a fighter who could dominate the sport for the next decade. That's the level of performance Lopez is walking into on January 31st.